8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Saunthi Thavam. The government extends ongoing interprovincial travel restrictions. India's Kushinagar airport declared open. Sri Lankan delegation marks first landing. Minister Namal meets Indian Prime Minister Modi, gives Sinhala version of Bhagavad Gita. All arrangements are made to reopen the schools, which has less than 200 students tomorrow. Nalin Pereira's channel features Yohani in UK. Sri Lanka records 442 new COVID cases and 18 deaths. Vehicular movement at Kohuwala Junction restricted for 2 months. News overseas. Aryan Khan, Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan's son's bail plea rejected in drugs case. In sports, Sri Lanka plays against Ireland in another pre-qualifying match today. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has directed relevant authorities to continue ongoing interprovincial travel restrictions until 4 a.m. on October 31st, Sunday, says the commander of Sri Lanka Army, General Shavendra Silva. Sri Lanka lifted the island-wide quarantine curfew, which was in effect for over a month, in a bid to curb the pandemic situation on October 1st, as the country started seeing a considerable drop in the number of daily COVID-19 cases and deaths reported. The interprovincial travel restrictions, however, remained in effect despite the relaxation of the quarantine curfew. A week later, the constraints imposed on crossing provincial borders were further extended until October 21st. However, it was again decided that the restrictions would remain in place until the end of the month. Sports and Youth Affairs Minister Namal Rajapaksa met the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Parinirvana Stupa today after the inauguration of the Kushinagar International Airport in the city. Kushinagar, earlier called Kusavati and then renamed as Kushinara, and finally it was named Kushinagar. Earlier, Sri Lankan Buddhist devotees had to go through a long journey starting from Mannar Basin to Tuticorin and then take a 3-day-long journey through train to Kushinara. Later, the Sri Lankans were able to make an air travel to Chennai and 3-day-long railway journey to the destination. However, with the latest development, the Sri Lankan Buddhist devotees are able to reach Kushinagar in 1 hour and 30 minutes. It saves about 72 hours, unnecessary expenses and avoids tiring long journeys. Therefore, it could be termed as the highest honour given to Sri Lankan Buddhist devotees by Indian government through this new airport opening. Kushinagar Airport is an international airport situated in Kushinagar district in Uttar Pradesh, India. The airport was licensed to operate as a customs-notified airport, facilitating the movement of international passengers and Buddhist pilgrims. The Kushinagar International Airport, built at a cost of 260 crore Indian rupees, has the state's longest runway with a length of 3.2 kilometers and a width of 45 meters. The airport has world-class facilities. Earlier today, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Kushinagar International Airport today at the Lord Buddha's Parinirvana in Uttar Pradesh. Following the inauguration ceremony, Minister Namal Rajapaksa gifted a Sinhala version of the Bhagavad Gita to the Indian Prime Minister Modi, which also carried a message from Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Speaking at an event organised to mark Abhidhamma Day, Minister Namal Rajapaksa thanked India Prime Minister Modi for extending a grant of $15 million to Sri Lanka to strengthen the Buddhist ties between the two countries. Mr. Rajapaksa said that it was a great pleasure and honour to be on the inaugural international flight to Kushinagar on the auspicious day of Vap Poya Day. Quote, I recall it was Indian Prime Minister Modi who suggested to the Sri Lankan Prime Minister during the virtual bilateral summit with Sri Lanka in September 2020 that 100 members of Buddhist clergy must join for the inaugural flight to Kushinagar, operated by Sri Lankan Airlines. It's an honour to Sri Lanka and this relationship will cherish for years to come, unquote. He further said that Buddhism is the greatest gift India had given to Sri Lanka. Quote, ever since Buddhism arrived in Sri Lanka, the relationship between our countries have been growing, unquote, he said. He further stated that Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa commissioned the translation of Bhagavad Gita in all languages spoken in Sri Lanka. Earlier, Sports Minister Rajapaksa lauded the gesture of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi of inviting and making the Sri Lankan Airlines to be the first to land at the airport. Former marketing head Sri Lanka Tourism for UK and Ireland, Nalin Pereira, now based in England, has launched his own YouTube channel naming it London to Colombo. The channel features business, tourism, news, sports and features and they recently featured Yohani Diloka de Silva, popularly known as Yohani, a Sri Lankan singer, songwriter, rapper and music producer, and the singer of Manike Mage. The feature on Yohani had exclusive pictures and interviews which were not published elsewhere. This lifestyle-type presentation made a huge sensation in London and has over 425,000 views so far. Court, we expect this to pass 1 million mark in 2 months, Court Pereira said. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health says 442 more people were tested positive for the novel coronavirus so far today, October 20th. This brings the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported in the country to 533,208. Reportedly, more than 26,000 virus-infected patients are undergoing treatment at the moment at hospitals, treatment centres and undergoing home-based care. The total number of coronavirus recoveries reached 493,674 after 360 more patients in total were discharged from medical care earlier today. In the meantime, the total number of people who died of COVID-19 infection in Sri Lanka moved up as 18 more fatalities were confirmed by the Director General of Health Services on Tuesday, October 19th. The new development has pushed the official death toll from the virus outbreak in the country to 13,543. The latest victims include 11 males and 7 females, the Department of Government Information said. 3 of the victims, 2 males and a female, are aged between 30 to 59 years, and the remaining 15 victims are aged 60 years and above. Vehicular movement at Kohuvala Junction on Horona-Colombo Road will be limited temporarily from tomorrow, October 21st, except for public transport buses. The decision was taken due to the construction work of the Kohuvala flyover, and the motorists are requested to use alternative routes as much as possible. According to the Road Development Authority, RDA, the vehicular movement restriction is expected to last until the 20th of December. All arrangements are made to reopen the schools which has less than 200 students tomorrow. The school staff members along with the school administration staff have extended their support to clean the premises. The schools with less than 200 students island-wide are ready to recommence the education activities after more than 4 months. All teachers and principals are expected to report to work tomorrow. That concludes local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vedha Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedha Mahatmya.
Sports and Youth Affairs Minister Namal Rajapaksa met the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Parinirvana Stupa today after the inauguration of the Kushinagar International Airport in the city. Following the inauguration ceremony, Minister Namal Rajapaksa gifted a Sinhala version of the Bhagavad Gita to Indian Prime Minister Modi, which also carried a message from Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Speaking at an event organised to mark Abhidhamma Day, Minister Namal Rajapaksa thanked India Prime Minister Modi for extending a grant of $15 million to Sri Lanka to strengthen the Buddhist ties between the two nations. Kushinagar, earlier called Kusavati and then renamed Kushinara, and finally it was named Kushinagar. Earlier, Sri Lankan Buddhist devotees had to go through a long journey starting from the Mannar Basin to Tuticorin and then take a 3-day-long journey through train to Kushinara. Thereafter, the Sri Lankans were able to make an air travel to Chennai and 3-day-long railway journey to the destination. However, with the latest development, the Sri Lankan Buddhist devotees are able to reach Kushinagar in 1 hour and 30 minutes. It saves about 72 hours, unnecessary expenses and avoids tiring journey. Therefore, it could be termed as the highest honour given to Sri Lankan Buddhist devotees by Indian government through this new airport opening. Kushinagar Airport is situated in Kushinagar district in Uttar Pradesh. India, the airport was licensed to operate as a customs-notified airport, facilitating the movement of international passengers and Buddhist pilgrims. The Kushinagar International Airport in India, built at a cost of 260 crore Indian rupees, has the state's longest runway with a length of 3.2 kilometers and a width of 45 meters. The airport has world-class facilities and came to you in the main news story.
This story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watch Live.
Health authorities have requested the public not to travel violating travel restrictions and ignoring health guidelines. Director General of the Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardana, said that it is a high risk for the public to travel when there are restrictions. He requested the public to refrain from travelling between the provinces. He pointed out that 500 to 600 corona patients are still being reported daily from the country. Therefore, he emphasized that the pandemic could spread rapidly again if the public act irresponsibly, and that came to you in Watchlight.
World News.
Making headlines, climate change, fossil fuel production set to soar over next decade. Aryan Khan, Bollywood actor's son, bail plea rejected in drugs case. Michael Slater, Australian ex-cricketer, arrested over alleged domestic violence. Plans by governments to extract fossil fuels up to 2030 are incompatible with keeping global temperatures to safe levels, says the UN. The UNEP Production Gap Report says countries will drill or mine more than double the levels needed to keep the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold alive. Oil and gas recovery is set to rise sharply, with only a modest decrease in coal. There has been little change since the first report was published in 2019. The son of Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan has been denied bail 18 days after he was arrested for allegedly doing recreational drugs at a party. Aryan Khan, 23, was taken off a cruise ship that was on its way from Mumbai city to the state of Goa on the 2nd of October. The Narcotics Control Bureau, NCB, charged him under laws related to possession, consumption and sale of illegal substances. He has denied the allegations against him. Former Australian cricketer Michael Slater has been arrested over an alleged domestic violence incident. The 51-year-old, now a cricket commentator, was arrested at his Sydney home on Wednesday and taken to a police station, local media reported. New South Wales Police confirmed an alleged incident happened last week. They have not disclosed further details. No charges have been laid and Mr. Slater has not commented publicly. Back to the headlines of the world news. Climate change, fossil fuel production set to soar over next decade. Aryan Khan, Bollywood actor's son, bail plea rejected in drugs case. And Michael Slater, Australian ex-cricketer, arrested over alleged domestic violence. That concludes this bulletin of world news.
And now in development news.
The newly constructed government officers' quarters, Nila Piesa, at Hector Kobbekadu Mawatha, Columbus 7, was declared open by Minister Janaka Bandara Tennakoon recently. This housing complex is the second housing complex constructed after Summit Flats construction. This 6-storey complex has 40 housing units in total. A sum of 921 million rupees has been spent on this project and came to you in development news.
Sports news.
Sri Lanka will meet Ireland in another pre-qualifying match today. The match is being played at the Abu Dhabi Cricket Grounds. Ireland won the toss and elected to field first. Accordingly, Sri Lanka bats first. Sri Lanka were 100 runs for the loss of 3 wickets in 13 overs. That's sports news. Business news up next.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency through NSB U-Trust for 6 months consecutively. Send more money and increase the chances of winning.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The U.S. Agency for International Development's USAID Private Sector Development Project signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU with Hatton National Bank PLC HNB to expand financing to micro, small and medium enterprises MSMEs in Sri Lanka. Quote, partnerships like this can dramatically enhance economic and social impact more than any of us could achieve on our own, unquote, said USAID Mission Director for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Reid Eichelman. That's business news, economic news up next.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Sri Lanka is looking at a fairly modest and undisturbed economic performance in the fourth quarter, says ICRA Research in their Economy at a Glance for September 2021 report. The government lifted the quarantine curfew in early October, and 60% of the Sri Lankan population will be fully vaccinated soon, reaching a new milestone. We believe the worst of the Delta variant is behind us. Businesses have learned to deal and operate amidst the pandemic over time, and due to these factors, Sri Lanka is looking at a fairly modest economic performance in the fourth quarter. That's economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
Weather report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, brings Nanasa app, a trilingual educational mobile app for online learning with video-based lessons from grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with the Nanasa app. No subscription fees. Download via Google Play Store, App Store, Huawei Store or Windows. Dialogue, the future today.
The Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur over most parts of the island after 1 p.m. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in central, Sabaragama, north central and northwestern provinces. Showers or thundershowers are likely in western and southern coastal areas during the morning too. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the International Weather Forecast website AccuWeather.com reports that the day's weather was observed to be bright with occasional showers. Today's daytime temperature was around 30 degrees Celsius. There will light showers in many places in Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 26 degrees Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be 28 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index AQI is 27, which shows fair condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms from long-term exposure. To conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines once again. The government extends ongoing interprovincial travel restrictions. India's Kushinagar airport declared open. Sri Lankan delegation marks first landing. Minister Namal meets Indian Prime Minister Modi, gives Sinhala version of Bhagavad Gita. All arrangements are made to reopen the schools which has less than 200 students tomorrow. Nalin Pereira's channel features Yohani in UK. Sri Lanka records 442 new COVID cases and 18 deaths. Vehicular movement at Kohuwal Junction restricted for 2 months. News overseas. Aryan Khan, Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan's son, bail plea rejected in drugs case. In sports, Sri Lanka plays against Ireland in another pre-qualifying match today. That concludes this news broadcast.